I'm pulling up to the house.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 3200 podcast, man. Hey, we've got a show for you today. We got a special guest in the house tonight. We're going to be talking about something. It's a topic that's very common, not only here in Southeast Texas, but worldwide, man. We're just going to have some deep conversations. Hey, we want you to sit right there. Go ahead, hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we'll be right back after this.
Hey, the 3200, you know how we connect. 3200 Magnolia was the address. Beaumont, Texas, had to do it like that. Wanna welcome everybody to the podcast. Plenty stories that we gotta explore. From the views of husbands, fathers, entrepreneurs, baby fathers, and workers. I know this though for certain. You gon' laugh, have a good time till your side hurting. 3200, but you already know this. Couple of brothers hard working and focused. Let's go. Intellectual, entertaining for show. 32 double O, let's go. 3200, but you already know this. Couple of brothers hard working and focused. Intellectual, entertaining for show. 32 double O, let's go. Hey, yeah, make sure that you turn it up. Get the talking, ain't no topic that we do not discuss. Yeah, everything and nothing at the same time. Good vibes, tune in, cause you know it's going down. 3200.
All right, all right. Welcome to the show, man. Before we get started, we got to do some house cleaning, man. I want to let everybody know that the 3200 podcast has partnered with Grateful Apparel, man. We're partners. And we got a special for you, man. If you use the code the 3200, you can save 15% off of any of their apparel. So go ahead, make sure you go check out Grateful Apparel. Get you something, man, and save 15% on us, man. On us. All right. Hey, welcome to the show, man. I'm Ike. I got Leo here. Leo, how you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm tired, man. I'm tired.
I hear you. I hear you. Didn't
You
drove to
know it,
Beaumont.
man. Been driving back and forth a lot this week. So between Beaumont and San Antonio, man, and working too. So it's all good.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Good Mother's Day. You had a good Mother's Day.
Sure. It was crazy, man. Helping your nephew. We had to pick up our son. He was in college, so we had to pick him up, and it's summertime, so bring him back home. He had an apartment, and we had to get everything moved and
Yeah.
everything else like that. So it was a busy Mother's Day, and then Monday was my 25th anniversary. So
Okay. Okay. Happy anniversary. 25 years. We still together. uh, all right, man. And we got a special guest today. We got another guest that's going to be joining us shortly, and then of course Jonathan's working. He's in the comments, but he told me he's working. He'll be on too a little bit later. But we got Seth Hancock, man. The Seth Hancock, I guess I should say, man. Uh, uh, Business owner, entrepreneur, all-time hustler, community, deep in the community and helping out wherever he can. Welcome to the show there. Seth.
Yes, thank y'all, man. I'm glad to be here today.
All right, man. And then I forgot to say, Seth is the owner of Wing Junkies here, Orange. And I got it. Well, I'll let him make the announcement. I don't want to spoil anything, but he's owner of Wing Junkies at Orange. We might be seeing him around the Golden Triangle area here soon, man. I don't want to spoil it, but might be able to get you some booty fries or something around here soon, man.
Yes, yes. We coming back to Beaumont on the weekends. I done all the groundwork, and we almost ready to let the world know the date and the time. I just got to find the right location. My last location was a bus, so got to find a new location. But other than that, we finna come back to the Golden Triangle and make it do what it do.
Oh yeah, yeah. So make sure you follow his page, follow Weed Junkies, man, so you can see. For those here in Beaumont, follow his page, follow. See when he's gonna be back here. If you're in Orange, of course, you can go have it at any time. And then Beaumont, man, ain't that long of a drive, man. Go check them out. Make sure you support. Terry Roy say y'all got the wingman on. What's up, Seth? Terry Roy say what's up.
What's going on, Miss Terry?
All right, so
Man, we used to chop.
oh yeah, everybody knows Terry, man. All right, man. Once again, man, if you're in the comments or you're watching, man, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you're following us on Facebook, go over to the YouTube and hit that subscribe button for us. Hit that like button, and if you're on YouTube, scroll on over to Facebook. Give us some love, man. We're trying to get some support. But we got a serious topic tonight, man. Seth hit me up. Well, Seth hit everybody up. It's like, hey, I need to get on the podcast, and we got to talk about these kids and these guns and this violence going on. So we chopped it up, and man, we're gonna chop it up tonight, man. I guess my first question, Seth, man, what was going on? I never asked you there, but what was going on for you to put that message out, and what's the motivation behind it? Why are you wanting to talk about this topic?
Man, I was at the barbershop. Me and Kill was cutting my hair the other day, and we were just talking about the nonsense with the gun violence, not only in Beaumont but Orange, Port Arthur. Like, man, every weekend is somebody getting killed due to I call it stupidity. You can say stupidity because a lot of it, man, I think comes from the music. A lot of it comes from the music industry. These young kids, man, or NBA young boy uh, riders, and they living by it and they dying by it. And us as a different generation, we don't speak out enough and let these kids know that they're going down the wrong path, or that's not the road you want to go down. It's not enough people that have been to jail. They're speaking out. They make it seem like it's cool, and I think that's unfair to really lead these kids down a blind road. Um, Even in my city, man, even in Orange, it's happening. They just had a murder, about 3 weeks ago, and a young boy, man, he been indicted for it, and a great kid, man, is just caught up in a crazy world, man. The world is gone mad, and not only is it gone mad, man, it's gone black on black, and the more we drop and kill each other, in 100 years we won't even exist. We the only race that can put us back on the ground. We the only race that can put every other race back on the ground. You can breed black and get white, brown, tan, Asian. You can get just about whatever, but you can't breed no other race and get us. So the more we kill up each other, man, we shorten our own self up, and not speaking out against nobody else and they beliefs or any other race, but then we're going outside and we having mixed kids and we thinning out our race as a whole, not only from the killing but to the reproduce factor, to a lot of points we don't ever look at, or a lot of stuff we might look at but don't speak on. But gun violence in Texas, man, when they made this um, carry without having a license, it was a sentence for us to wipe each other out. I don't care how nobody look at it. These young kids pack these guns with these things called switches on them. These switches was made by not a black person. I believe that guy is a white man that made the switch. And the most common communities where you find these switches at is in the black community. Now, I don't know, take it how you want, but it seems like all the destruction always ends up in our community. It ends up in the poverty side. You don't find this in the rich man's end of town. You're not gonna find no switches. You're not gonna find no guns selling for $20 and $30. You're not gonna find it in their community, but you will find it in our community. In the low, I would say the low income. You find the low income or the one parent household, and I think it's time out. I think we need to do more podcasts, a lot more speaking out, not only as just the podcast owners, but members of the community need to start speaking out. I think if the kids start listening and start seeing somebody that they know speaking out on it, I think it'll change a lot.
Yep, true. What you got, Leo? Yeah,
It's a lot. He put a lot there. Um, so how do we start as a community with some of the things that you think that we might need to do as a community to help with this?
This right, this a start. This is a start because I guarantee you somebody's listening. Somebody's listening. Somebody's watching. And I believe that we can make a difference. I mean, if we gotta round up every small business in the Golden Triangle and break this plan down and start coming out, if we gotta start throwing free events just to get these kids together. Man, it's summertime finna hit. These kids got school next week. When they get out of school, murder rate going up, crime rate going up. Like I'm watching, man, I watch every night in these different groups of these neighborhoods, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. These kids roaming, breaking windows, breaking in cars. Kids, not grown ups, kids. When I was a kid, man, we used to ride in different neighborhoods and tip over trash cans and stuff. Like we wasn't going just doing that like what they doing. It's like the stuff that we thought about these kids are doing. They put into actions with no hesitation. If you say it's up with them, it's up. Like I tell all my friends, look, y'all about to be old heads. Get into argument with youngsters, you gotta let them have it. You gotta let them feel like they won. You got to have it.
Yeah, true. I think we got to get more creative, man. I think we just got to be more creative. We I think I done been in so many groups. I seen. I think that one summer it was got real bad. Like somebody, kids was killing somebody every weekend. We're just counting how many murders it was every weekend. And I sit in a bunch of groups, sat down there with a bunch of people, and coming down with plans and people saying things. And you know, I would say the biggest thing I always hear down here in this area is sports. We need more leagues. We need more teams. We need more this, and that's great, and it works, but it's not reaching every kid. And that one kid, one of these kids that murdered someone a couple years ago, uh, his mom had him in sports, and
Yeah.
she got a lot of blame. She got a lot of blame for him killing the other dude. And she's like, she was doing everything she can. She kept him, put him in sports. She kept him with mentors. But that influence from his friends was greater than the influence of sports. It was greater than the influence of those mentors. It's greater than the influence of his mom. And he decided to do something really, really stupid. Uh,
Right.
so I mean, we got to sit down with some people who are creative. We got to find out what these kids like, because every kid don't like sports. Every kid don't like, certain things. Like, hey, we got to find out what these kids like and get them heavy involved. Like Seth said, we might be already too late because school end next week, and just like Seth was saying, man, it's going to get bad. We know it's going to get bad over the summertime because then they're going to be really bored. So I
Yeah.
mean, we got to do something.
And to just pitch in on what you said, man, it's um they holler this sports and they want the city to invest all this money in sports. Everybody not gonna be no basketball player. Everybody not gonna be no football player. It's not gonna happen. Stop pushing these kids thinking that football and basketball is the only way out. It's not the only way out of the environment. It's not. It's other ways. It's other things that this money that the city has, because every city has this funding that's sitting there, and it's ways that we can get it. It's ways that can be set up to where they donate such and such, or however you want to say it, put the money in the right hands to do the right thing. These kids need activities. There should be a fishing group taking these kids fishing. There should be, if kids want to fishing, we got them here. If kids want to play basketball, we got them soccer, baseball. We got kids that just like to read. But the school has failed because they haven't connected to these kids to find out what these kids really want, what these kids really want to do with themselves. It's too many kids in these classrooms for one. I'll go ahead and say that. So the teacher would never be able to connect with them. Never. The teacher might hit one or two out of the 35 kids she got in her class. So that one teacher would never be able to connect and find out what that kid really want to be. We all got, I think we all got kids on here. I got a handful of kids. I have to sit them down to actually find out who they want to be. You could raise these kids up, and the God knows I don't put my kids on no pedestal. I don't ever say what my kids won't do, what my kids will do. I raise my kids in the way that they should go, and I pray that they stick to that. And if they fail to do that and they make a mistake, then I'm here to try to help correct their mistake. So a lot of it falls on these parents not holding their kids up for their wrongs, or only Oh, it wasn't my kid. My kid wouldn't do nothing like that. You'll never know what your kid to do. Because I got a 14-year-old son. I had to get on him a few times. Like certain things we just don't do. Certain ways we just don't carry ourselves. Certain places we just don't go. And certain kids you just don't hang around, man. When I was a kid, man, I had to play with my brother or the next door neighbor. My mama didn't play that. You going across town and hanging with such and such. She didn't play it. Even when we stayed at the neighborhood. And a lot goes back to the community, man. Community standards. Some things is not allowed in certain neighborhoods or allowed in this neighborhood. And once we come up out of that situation and grow out of the I go ahead and say it, after we come out of that color code, everybody want to be gangbangers in my generation. After we grow up out of that color code, then we move off from that neighborhood, and I put myself in the boat. We go and we move on with our life. So I done elevated and graduated, and now I'm doing this here. So it's still 30, 40, 50 many youngsters back in my neighborhood that's following in the same path that I went through. And it ain't enough for us stepping out, reaching back, showing these kids that it's a better way. You ain't got to go down this road. Man, a lot of kids turn to gang banging and turn to violence because it's all they got. Dad is not there. I know a lot of kids in the parent household. So once Section 8 kicked the dad out the house, ain't no man in that house. So the kid already lost because he ain't got no guidance. So the kid go to school looking for guidance, and the teachers can't reach him. So guess who can reach him? Them gangsters can reach anybody. Oh man, come over, hang over here, man. There's number love over here. So for one, that's how we're gonna have to reach these kids is through love. We're gonna have to open up them hands, but in a minute, open up them hands and open up them arms for hugs. We got to do the same thing on the other end. In any kind of business, it's gonna be financial. So that's where the city comes in, and we have to get that blueprint together to take down there and let them know we need funding for this, funding for that. Even if it's a day at the river, I think I read some day where they redoing something at the riverfront. I think they're gonna get ready to pour fresh concrete or something. So that'll be a easy grant money right there. We're gonna take these kids down there fishing once a week this summer, once a weekend, or however. You just gotta find ways to reach these kids. If it take hitting one community hard and grabbing all the kids up out there one community and working on that community first and going to the next section. I know it's a lot of apartment complexes in Beaumont in the rough neighborhoods that these kids need saving. They need somebody to make them feel important and let them know that they are important. Because I was a kid growing up, man, nobody made me feel important. My mama took us to church, and that was the pastor. The pastor, it laid more on the pastor to make us feel important, but you don't even have that these days in church. The pastor really just preach for a check now, so you don't have the push that you had from the old saints back in the day. So that's why I say, man, the streets and music win these kids open, because the music is always there 24/7, and the streets are always there 24/7. So these kids really got to be strong-minded to say no. You know what I'm saying? When I ran the streets, there were certain things I wasn't gonna do. No, you ain't finna. No, that ain't happening. My mom ain't finna hear about that one. So certain things I just wouldn't do. But you got a lot of kids that's weak-minded and want to fit in. And peer pressure is real. We talk about it, but nobody really just come out and say it. But peer pressure is real, man. That would cause these kids to crash out and throw their life away like it ain't nothing. So we have to. I really believe, and since we hit on that topic, guys, we really need to sit down and find a way that we can. If we win 5 kids out of the neighborhood, I think we won. I think that'll make progress.
Oh yeah. Hey, I want to welcome. We got Jonathan Guns down. Jonathan on the show, and also Kia McGuire, local barber here in South Texas.
So
welcome to the show, Kia.
Hey, how you guys doing? I just got that cut. Sorry for wait.
that my girl Kia go. So that's who shop I was at, y'all, when I was getting my haircut, and we got to talking about kids and the violence and things that just need to take place. I think these kids really need to.
I think you hit on. I think you hit on a couple points there, real good points, and I think we get caught up in some things too, man. On some of the things, the finger point, and I think that's the point I was going to bring up. The finger point, and like you hear the schools blaming the parents, you hear the parents blaming the schools, and everybody's pointing fingers and saying it was but the real solution comes at all 3 levels or all 4 levels. Like we got to figure out a way of teaching these kids how not to get influenced by their friends. These parents, we've got to do better with our kids.
Right.
These schools got to get more involved. Schools got to not be scared of the kids. They got to discipline. They got to train. It's more than just teaching, showing them and getting them ready for life. And then even like churches and stuff, man. Uh, churches got to get more involved in these schools. There's a few churches that adopt schools and they get involved, but if especially in Beaumont, man, there's probably about 260 churches. If every church adopted a school and had somebody there every day of the week, man, it'll help out. Jonathan, what you think there?
Oh, well, it's a tough thing, man. It's like you were saying, everything that we grew up on worked together. So the community, the church, and the parents, and the grandparents, and the neighbors. It was a circle. But now everything is so disconnected because of this gun violence, because of all the violence in the streets. You know, I'm in the DFW, so it's somebody dying like right now. Somebody's getting shot. A young lady in Pleasant Grove got shot because they're shooting at each other driving down the street. So it's crazy. And then, like he said, with the music is going so crazy where you got even Lil Durk right now. He just posted a song, you know, with his op crying on the song and he rapping about it. So they're making it a culture of bragging about this violence. We just had a young man up here. He shot a guy 5 times, and he's young. He's 19, so he's talking on the jail phone to his girlfriend, saying, "Oh, he's bragging about it to his girlfriend. I shot the man 5 times. I was so close I could smell him breathing." So when they put it in court, now you got 30 years. So it's crazy. Like he said, we got to be more of an influence. Like when I was working in schools, I did security and transportation, so I can talk to the kids more. But the teachers, they can only do so much because if they say the wrong thing, they in jail or they got stuff coming against them, and they were trying to help kids. So it's kind of it's a tough situation everywhere you go because everything's under the radar, and you're trying to help people. Uh, and then at the same instance, like he said, the music, the culture that we're polluting these kids' minds with, it's just, I mean, it's downhill. So yeah, I would say, yeah, we got to get out on the streets. Me and my buddy in Temple, we tried to. He opened up a club for the teens, and it just was we went to the schools. We put PlayStations in there, pool table. We had food, all that type of stuff. But it's just, I don't know. You gotta reach. We gotta figure something out, man. I think you remember CIS when we was in school, community in schools. We gotta figure these kids out. What gets them going? Just really getting their mind because they're plaguing their minds with all the wrong things, knowingly and unknowingly.
Yeah, yeah. I got
You're
Terry.
on
He
mute.
says, I got Terry. He says he go into a lot of homes on a daily basis, and he said we'll be amazed at the amount of mental challenges kids face. You have kids whose parents are dying daily from cancer and a variety of illnesses, and they have to deal with that at a young age. And I totally agree. I did some mentoring, and I'm thinking like, hey, I got this formula. If I tell these kids this, this, and this, I'm going to change some lives, man. And then start to dig into these kids' stories. I had one kid who mom gave up on him, his daddy gave up on him, and he's living with the teenage cousin, and they run in the streets every night. You know what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to influence this kid when he's with his cousin? The person who's raising him only a couple years older than him. You know what I mean? So every kid got a different story. But I think it's up to us or the community come down, sit down, learn these kids' stories, and learn what make them tick, and then tell them. You know what I mean? So you don't have to do that. There's other ways of doing it. Faith Love, she says you got more time than money. Volunteering your time moves quicker than trying to find the money for programs that will never get off the ground or can't be sustained for more than a year. So true. It's hard to get those programs running. It's hard to decide and that's why I wanted. I think Seth, you had talked about it. They're getting the cities involved and stuff. I say it's more than getting the city involved. We've got to tell the city or the state or the national government what we need and not allow them to tell us what we need because they're going to be like, hey, we build a rec center. That's going to, like, no, it's not going to solve everything. We've got to tell them, like, hey, we need this for our kids. We need that. So, uh, Kia, what are you thinking there? What's on your mind about this topic?
I think, like you said, like I think when people start doing the work, I think that's when people it's easy to say go to people and say what we need, right? But if we're not actually doing it to start doing it first, then you can't, say, hey, we need this, but you got to actually start. So I think when you say like churches got to be in schools and like I think you start there because the 15-year-old who goes and shoots somebody, he showed signs in the third grade that he was going to shoot somebody. Like he had issues already, so someone could have got to him earlier. And I think like I'm from Seattle, and our the dynamic down here and up there is like so different. Like down here, it seems like if a kid is not playing sports, like what do he have to do? Like kids train. Like my daughter's in basketball. I know a lot of athletes. I cut a lot of athletes. So it's like, what about the kids who don't do sports? Like, so if you're not training or football, if you're not one of those athletes that like people are like putting their time into, like if you're just a kid, like it's like those kids are like down south. Like it feels like those kids like they don't have like we in Seattle. There's like a gym on every corner, so that's why you see a lot of athletes make it to the league because everyone, no matter if you play basketball or not, like growing up, like we had somewhere to go. It feels like down here, like these kids don't have nowhere to go, so they find somewhere to go. So that they got football trainers, they got all these trainers who do all this stuff for the kids. But if your kid is like, what if your kid plays tennis or something? Like it's like, or your kid like to play chess, or so if someone don't get to them, someone else will, like eventually. And I feel like that's it's just so different down here. Like there's a church on every corner, you know what I mean? There's so many churches, but they ain't got nowhere for the kids to go. And then you got churches who have gyms and don't even open it up for kids to go in the gym.
True, true, true. Leo, what you got?
I think we got to look at history when we doing this, and we got to look at revolution because revolutions just change. So what you want is change. So you got to look at those things that brought about change in history. Some of the things that the Black Panthers political party did back in the 60s. You know what I mean? You gotta look at the way that these things changes. Actually, the 60s was all about change, but you gotta see how they hit. They hit with the music. They hit with social, economic things. They hit with health. Because if you really look at that party and some of the even the things that Martin Luther King and that party did with civil rights, it was the same type of thing. They hit you spiritually. They would feed and whatever do the health thing, and they would also do with the education thing. Um, you gotta understand and look at schools right now. Schools right now are teaching to test. They're not teaching those social skills that some all those social programs are being cut or either not there. There's a lot of schools nowadays that don't have recess or gym time or something like that. There's schools that's not making you go to like home ec. So you got kids. I remember my oldest son didn't know where to put a stamp on a letter. We made him for his graduation for his thank you cards. We made him write little notes in there, and we had to show him, hey man, maybe we Googled and was like, hey, put the little note like this and sign your name, right? Put the card in there, had the address on there and everything. Um, he didn't know where to put the stamp. It's simple skills like that they're not learning and stuff like that in education. So in education wise, I think you got to start looking at things a different way. These are things that maybe we should teach kids. We're preparing kids. We're supposed to be preparing kids for college. So maybe our high schools should look like college. Maybe our high school classes should be kind of like college classes. Teach finances, things that your kids gonna use, like Mr. Terry said earlier, trades. Like you guys said, yeah, we got this sports thing going on, but we got trades going on over here. We can teach you how to make a quick, buy some stuff from IKEA and put some things together and maybe sell it or whatever to the community, seeing that these youth and these kids are doing that. And that's the education level. The health wise, some of the oh man, it's beautiful. Black people are creating gardens in the hood. I didn't seen of course, in Atlanta, but I saw a couple like in New York and a couple other places. They are doing that. These abandoned homes that they didn't knock down. In fact, this show, the Third 200, on the corner is our old house where they didn't rebuilt the house now. Third 200 Magnolia, but around there are fields with nothing. There used to be houses, but there's nothing there. It's plant a garden. Teach these kids how to grow and eat healthy food. You know what I mean? Beaumont is a great area to grow some anything with the weather. You know what I mean? So that's where you hit things. You like you said, music. Start creating and doing our own music to reach out to those kids and make a nice beat or whatever and everything else like that. Um, you gotta hit at all levels in order to create change. I'm even for I know they like teachers on we don't have enough teachers, but I'm even for year round school. Most every other country does it except for us. We're the only country that don't do year round school. And when you're really thinking about it, it's like if you're a single parent, it's not gonna hurt your kid going to school year round. There are breaks in between that and stuff like that, but it's not gonna hurt you. It hurts you more that when summer comes because you gotta pay for that place to have somebody watch your kid. I remember CDC hurt me like a mug when I was younger. And my kids, I was like, God dang, I'm paying like $4,000 for somebody just to watch my kid, and all they're gonna do is just do whatever they want to do. They ain't even teaching them that. So I'm an advocate for something like that. But yes, when we look at this, like you said, it needs to be a plan. But we also need to look at each level. That way, like you said, you can hit them on one thing. Kia, you can hit them on something else and stuff like that. But we're all going towards the same goal as a community, and we're all actually doing things that fit within our will well. So it's easy for us to reach those kids. You're going to reach somebody when it's something that you know and like doing, rather than you just over there. Well, I got to help the community. I'm going to go over here and try to farm, but you know nothing about farming, and you don't really care about digging in the dirt. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at this and a lot of things. You got to understand, like y'all said, you got to understand that one that you help out of that 10 could be the next President Obama or whatever else. You know what I mean? And yes, that's wonderful. And you really would like to get all 10, but sometimes that don't happen. But yes, reaching out to that one is important as getting as many as the other ones. So when I think about stuff like this, that's what I think we gotta as a community hit everything in order to create change.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. And I think we need to hold these kids accountable for stuff, man. I just think about as far as the community part there, man. I think about I don't go to a lot of games, but whenever I go to a basketball game or football game, I'm just at the mall or whatever. These kids, they walk around, they just cussing. Like cuss. I was like, man, I would never in my life cuss in front of an adult when I was that young. I cussed when I was young, but if I see an adult, I'll be, I watch my mouth, or if I cuss and they hurt me, I turn around and be like, hey, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? These kids do not give they don't care. They don't care. And we got to speak out on it. I see the adults just sit there and let the kid cuss or let the kid do something crazy. Like, no, I mean, we're a community. We got to hold these kids accountable and tell them what's wrong and right. If their parents ain't teaching them, we've got to sit there and tell them, like, hey, no, you don't talk like that. You know what I mean? Hey, you don't say the N word in front of other people. You know what I mean? That's like basic stuff that we learned as kids. These kids act like they don't.
You're on mute, Ike.
I was like, I was on mute the whole time. I missed my whole speech.
Nah, just to the end of it. Once you got to the
Oh,
cussing,
I
one
was
of
like,
them
man, that was
kids
a good
might
speech.
go might go mute.
I was Malcolm Xing over here, man. That was a good speech. Nah, I said, fake love. She said, oh, they bad as hell, and they ready to cuss you out too. Seth, man. I mean, what could be done, man? What can we do?
Man, I'm I'm all for talking to the youth, but at the same time, man, I ain't gonna lie. A lot of them be a little scared, man. Be scared to talk to them. You don't know how these kids gonna react. So we have to. That's why I say you have to approach these kids with love. They say love cover a multitude, and I really do believe that. So they able to be touched. They able to be talked to. Um, it's gonna take time to undo a lot. I don't want to get off topic. I don't want to blame what's going on today on slavery, but this is my point, Leo, and this is where I'm coming from. You correct me if I'm wrong. Slavery didn't teach us business. It taught black folks how to survive. So um, we have been programmed to survive, whether it's take from you, or take from whoever. We have been programmed to survive by any means necessary. We're gonna survive. That's why I say this race is one of the strongest races there is. We are one of the strongest people. The sun re-energizes us, the grass re-energizes us, and for other races the sun burns them. It does whatever it does. We as a black race are strong by nature, but we got a lot of chains we breaking. Slavery wasn't that long ago. The way they taught it in school was made it seem like it was centuries. Slavery wasn't that long ago. It was not that long ago. It was right around the corner. So it's gonna take a I thought when I made like 19 that it was gonna take a generation to break a lot of chains. But when I look at my 14 and my 16-year-old and look at their generation, it ain't even bad as it ain't the chains that should have been broken. It's like it got whole new chains. Like the NBA young boy, like that style of living, that style of talk. Man, I didn't about kill my son behind some NBA young boy. Like we're not living that lifestyle. You're not that type of kid. Like and my kids go to a great school. I got one that's still in private school, and I got some at West Orange, and I got some at La Cypress. I'm all for pushing my kids for a better education. My oldest three all went to private school, and as they got older, we moved some out. But these kids or these molds got to be broke. And like I said, it started home with the parenting, but then when we send them kids to school, we trust them in their schoolhouse to do their part. So if the schoolhouse feeling, the mom at home in the single parent household feeling, the pastor on Sundays, he's feeling. If we all three feeling and the community feeling, and the reason why the community feeling is Mike over there don't want nobody telling his son nothing. And Tommy said if I tell his son something else, he was gonna whoop me. So we let these kids just do what they want to do because we conflicts with the parents. Back when I was a kid, man, if Mr. Mike said, come down here Saturday and cut this grass, boy, I better been down there cutting that grass. Like it was different. Or if he said pull up them pants, you better pull up them pants. It wasn't no, I'm gonna go tell my daddy, you told him to pull up my pants, and he will go on another. But that's the time and day age we living in now, man. You tell these kids something and they run tell their parents instead of their parents nipping in the bud. It's more, don't tell my son nothing, know what I'm saying? I'm his daddy. No, it takes a community. It really does take a community to raise a kid. And the reason why I say that is you see a lot of people donating back to certain kids because like right now in Orange, I mean, they got a group that donate for kids to get they graduation gown and stuff because they mamas can't afford this, they mamas can't afford that. The same effort we go to help these kids do this, we need to put that same effort into helping these kids be on the right path. They language, man. These kids got, man. Whew. I hung out with my kids at the house last weekend, man, and the stuff they talk about, I wouldn't dare say it in front of my mama. Like I just had different. I ain't gonna say my kids don't respect because they do, but they conversation, they don't even think the conversation is disrespectful. But man, my mom would have killed me 3 times just for speaking. That's why I say, man, a lot of things we thought as kids, these kids not thinking. They are saying it, they are doing it, they are living it, and it's best now we grab these kids now and try to save. We're not gonna save everybody. Let's just say the full 9 is going underwater, and we got to grab kids and try to save them. That's it. and we're not gonna save everybody. We're not gonna reach everybody, but I believe the group that we reach could better the group. If we reach 10 or 20, that 10 or 20 can reach back and save some of their peers, because that's what's gonna have to happen. It's gonna take everybody doing their part. From this day forward, we need to do our part. The community need to do its part. The schools need to do better and do their part instead of just teaching for tests. You know, they didn't took home it's that's out of the schools. They're not even teaching that part no more. In Orange, I know West Orange still got shop class, I believe. But a lot of schools done cut shop out. So these kids not even learning trades anymore. I was 16 with buku trades out of high school. And I don't think these kids even getting their chance to learn these trades. And these trades are needed. You want to get these kids equipped for college, but we need to get these kids equipped for life. Because a lot of these kids not going to college. A lot of these kids, high as they gonna get is maybe 10th grade, and it's a wrap. First time that teacher pop off, they done. They already at home with mama, and she halfway know what's going on. So I'm 10th grade, 11th grade. I ain't never got to go back to school. And I'm not saying that a diploma makes you 30 times better than anybody else, but I am saying it gives you a better chance. I would say it gives you a better chance, and they need to start teaching something that connects these, where they can connect to these kids. Because as parents, we still got to connect our kids when they come home. I have to reconnect the mind all the time. Come here, boy, let me talk to you. Let me see what's going on with you. Because you just have to reconnect, because the world is so ill, man. Like from the music to the TV. And like when I was a kid, man, the pastor called the TV the one-eyed monster. So my mama didn't let us watch TV like that. Like you got your hour in or so, and that was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? Pastor said that TV a one-eyed monster. So we didn't get to watch TV like that. But these kids got these phones, iPads. Man, we giving these kids iPads at 2 years old. I got a 9-month-old with a tablet. So, I mean, it takes the community. It takes everybody. We all got all these flaws that we don't even know they flaws. Because starting these kids with these tablets is a flaw off the rip. Because we didn't took.
So I always debate the whole the influence from the music and stuff, because it's sometimes I understand it, and then other times I'd be like we had the same violent music, man. We grew up on Tupac, NWA. We grew up on a lot of the violent. I used to watch wrestling a lot, and we watched the westerns, and we watched Terminator and all this stuff. And we watched it, but we knew what it was. Even like NBA YoungBoy, what I mean, we know he ain't really doing the stuff he rapping about. But like, I mean, is it a difference between us and them kids? Like, why aren't they? I mean, why didn't the music and stuff affect us like it is these kids these days?
Okay.
I guess be my
So
question.
to capitalize on this, you're right. Because I found myself last week, I was listening to all the old school NWA, and I told my pastor, God dang, they live reckless. Like they was on some other stuff. But y'all generation had a stronger mindset than this new generation. These 2000 babies, they brain is weaker than a fresh egg out the chicken. It's weak. They don't have the concept to separate. I don't believe they can separate fake rap from real life. If NBA YoungBoy said up that pistol, if he piss you off, that's what they living by and that's what they standing on. Like the little drama him and Dirk got going on now. Him, Dirk, Drake. He didn't even diss J. Cole. I ain't never heard J. Cole ever had a problem with anybody. But he like on a little rampage. And I don't know, these kids very weak-minded. This is the most weak-minded generation I've seen in my 36 years. This is a weak generation. These kids are pure, and they say peer pressure. You can say it's peer pressure, but the kids are just not as strong as we was. And do it fall on the parents in a way? Yeah, because we done made these kids weak by being enablers, spoiling these kids like we spoil them. So we didn't enable them to believe that they deserve this, they deserve that. You can't tell these kids no, or they falling out, or spazzing out. I mean, it's different. I mean, your kids and my kids in the same era. So think back when you was a kid and your mama told you no, no meant no. It wasn't no falling. You fall out, you want to. You kick and scream, you want to. Like it was just different, man. And it fall a lot on us. A lot of these kids' problem is because of these parents and these daddies not being in these kids' life. Too busy trying to keep living their life. And I tell my friends all the time, man, life is not about us anymore. It's not about you. It's about these kids, you know. I strive to be a better father every day because it's not about me. It's about these kids. These kids need a father, not a friend. And that's where me and my 14-year-old been bumping heads at because he been my best friend since he been here. But as he's growing, I'm trying to tell him we're not friends anymore. I'm your father. Like certain lines you just can't cross. You know, he even called me bro the other day, and I'm like, hey, ain't your bro. You know, hold up. You know, ain't. But man, it's difficult putting that line because we want our kids to love us to death. Because a lot of us feel like if we're not that friend or we're not that person, that these kids are gonna fall victim to the next thing in the street. When I was 14, 15, man, the gang made me feel like, hey, that was home. Hey man, we love you over here. Come hang out over here. Blah blah blah. Such and such. Whoop the whoop. And everybody want to feel a part of something. So that's where that grabs a lot of our kids at because they feel welcome and they feel a part of something. Until trouble hit, chaos hit, the cops called, and then they get to find out who their real friends is. So will scared straight work in our society now? It's gonna take some stiff parents to let their kids go behind the walls. And I ain't talking about go behind the walls for hours. It's gonna take some strong parents to let their kids go behind the walls. And I'm talking about 2 to 3 days till they crack, till they understand that life is not a joke. I live like they responding, like Call of Duty. You're not responding when it's over, it's over. But they really living like it is what it is. Better you than me.
Oh, yeah. Kid, you had something, kid?
Yeah, like even like no one ever told us we had mental health issues. Like when we was growing up, we never even used the word. But like my 17-year-old last summer was like, can you look up some people? I need to go see a therapist, and I'm like, for what? Because my mental health. I'm like, you're what? Like we never had mental health issues growing up. Like we did what we were supposed to do, and then we never, you know what I mean. But the world, the society, things have changed. Even like you said, the respect of kids pulling up their pants, right? You got to think. Even when adults, remember when adults used to drive by a church, they'll turn their music down. Like they don't even have that respect. So the adults, they don't have the same respect. A dude, when he's seen a pastor, he'll put down his bottle or he'll hide what he had. But they don't have that same respect. So that same thing flows into the kids. So they see their parents not have the same level, and then like the hard like parents want to be their friends. Like I remember one of my friends saying, "Kid, you want your kids to be able to come tell you everything." I'm like, no, I don't. I want them to have a level of respect for me that I wouldn't even go tell my mom something like that. Like we didn't go tell our mom or dad like, hey, I'm thinking about crossing the line. We never like that. Never you might have did something behind you, but you wasn't bold enough to go tell your parents. You know what I mean? Like, but these parents, we hit kind of like society tells us you gotta be your kid's friend, and that you can't. You know what I mean? They gotta be open. They gotta be able to talk to you about everything because they have mental health. And so now we have these fragile kids that people are scared to tell the hard truth to. Like I had one of my friends the other day talking about my older son and said, hey, I wanted to talk to him, but I didn't want to come off. I'm like, tell him. Like, what? Tell him we're not his friend. So if you feel like, you see him doing something skeptical, tell him the hard truth. I'd rather someone tell him the hard truth than he be somewhere else and now he is forced to hear the hard truth. But like the parenting is different. We want to be their friend. We don't want to tell them the hard truth because we want to be likable. You know what I mean? So if going against what other parents said about our kids makes us likable, then that's what we do.
True. There, that's all facts there. That's all facts there. And I think a lot of it's on the way we parent now, and I think a lot of parents are scared. Like some people took that to heart. You remember? I know I used to say like, I tell your parents after they whoop you, like I'm gonna treat my kids better than you. Yeah, I'm never gonna touch my kid. And some people took that to heart, but I had kids. I realized like, okay, I see why why I was getting that bill because I was acting the damn fool. You know what I'm saying? So I think some parents took that to heart. Was like, bro, you have to be hard on your parents. You gotta be hard on your kids. man. You gotta give them a hard time. They gotta understand the separation between, when I'm the father, when I'm the mother, and when I'm be your friend or whatever. It's like, hey, while I'm raising you, I'm raising you. This is my role. I think our dad did it good too, Leo. It's like when we was young, he was our father. He was hard on us. He yelled at us whenever we was messing up. He made sure we knew. He disciplined us hard. um, but when we grew up and we showed him that we were men, that's when he started to treat us like men, and he gave us that respect. That what I mean, as a man, what I mean, we best friends now, but he gave us the discipline when we needed. And I think a lot of parents need to step up, and you got to step up early too, because like I say, you'll lose them if you wait too long. Leo, what you got?
I don't know, man. I'm at a crossroad. I'm at a mix between what all y'all are saying. So I gotta tell you, I got a 23 and a 20-year-old. You know, so I believe you just nowadays you have to, in a way, you gotta kind of listen to them. I think some of the old school parenting was our daddy worked out, like you said, our daddy worked out because as we got older, he started, treating us more like when we was age appropriate. He started treating us age appropriate, and I think that's what it is. It's like some parents don't understand age appropriateness. You know what I mean? Like a 5-year old should be doing 5-year old things. I shouldn't have a 5-year old if I'm on a conversation with an adult and you got the speaker on and we talking adult things and you got a 5-year old right here in with the conversation. So that's what I mean, like with age appropriateness. As they get older, they can be in those older situations, but until they reach that level. So but I think a little sometimes with the old school, it was the kids sit down, shut up. It didn't work out when they got older because a lot of times these people who got older had a failure to launch too, or it took them a while to try to figure things out. So I think nowadays, with everything that goes, it's a little bit quicker because of technology. You know, like we said, we saw Tupac and all them on the video, but when we met Tupac or Biggie or whoever in person at the concerts and stuff, they was a different people and they showed different. You know what I mean? Where nowadays with technology and everything, you got your cell phone. So these kids think cell phone is just this. Cell phone is everything. You know, I dare say when my kid was, oh my God. Well, one of my kids, we went out of town, and both the boys was older at that time. So we went out of town. I think the oldest one was either graduated or was about to graduate. So we went out for like I think a day or so for something, and end up being the youngest one took the truck middle of the night driving, um, reckless driving. Over the speed limit and everything else. You know how I know all this? Because he videotaped.
Have
And
you
it
seen
just happened to be he did something else, and I looked in his phone, and I'm like, oh, so this what we doing now? You know what I mean? So kids, you got to think about kids these days. They don't really think about that like we used to think about. It's like somebody got a camera, you better put that down. Hey, we about to do this. We're going to hide this. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of kids, or you might see some of the youngsters talking like on LeBron show on HBO. They was like, man, we don't have footage of you guys. Y'all tell us stories of y'all. And we was like, because we ain't trying to get busted. You busting yourself. But they don't, that camera into their life and everything else, that's how they are. That's their thing. So really, truthfully, like you guys said, you don't have to be their friend. Just grab their phone because I'm gonna tell on them. So you can look at it that way too. But at a certain part of an age, you have to. Now, I don't know if y'all got daughters. I know I got daughters, so it's different with daughters. But with sons at a certain age, you gotta sit him down and be like, okay, like when my sons hit about 13, okay, I'm not doing all this no more. We're gonna start treating you as the world would start treating you. You know, when my son's hit like 18, I'm like, oh, you're a man now, so we about to do contracts. You want to borrow money from your daddy? Okay, you're gonna pay your daddy back just like a bank. You're gonna have interest rates. Well, what's interest? Oh, let me pull out. I start showing them things too. I showed them my actual bill for my car note. This is how much I paid for this car. Well, you said the car was like 24 or whatever, but you end up paying like 30 at the end. Yeah, that's called interest. Welcome to the world. These things like that, you gotta teach these kids. You gotta look at them that way. But the thing that my dad did that I did like, and what most parents gotta do is you gotta look at them individually. I got one, I can tell you, his nephews, one is on one side of the spectrum, one is on the other side. They are totally opposite of each other. You wouldn't even believe they were born and raised in the same doggone house, but that's how they are. So I gotta treat one way and one another way. Some people might be like that's wrong or whatever, but that's the way that I can get to one and I can be like, you really disappointed me. And that hurt him. I tell the other one that I really disappointed him. I mean, he really disappointed me. They ain't facing that dude. So it's every $18 million, right? You crazy, yeah. But it's kind of crazy. But also, we didn't mention mental health back in those days because nobody knew what it was. But there's plenty of people who I knew, and I'm going to tell you straight up, my oldest son, I took him to a therapist because he what ended up happening was he had a friend who committed suicide. He didn't tell nobody. And that's real messed up when your kid is either too scared or something else when they can't tell you that something serious like that happened. So therapy ain't really bad. They're not most of the time therapy ain't gonna be like, oh, you was a bad parent. Most of the time the people who go to therapy, they don't like it because the therapist flip it on them and be like, well, what could you do to be better? And stuff like that. So um therapy is not really a bad thing. But we didn't know what mental health. There was plenty of people who I knew in school that I went to high school with, and I ain't gonna name no names, but they really, they really was really needed some help.
Yeah.
And what did we do? We put them in football. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Put 'em out there.
And how can you tell because of the mental health awareness that we have now, right? So like my daughter, they go to school like in another area, so I can tell when um things are not going their way, and they know how to manipulate things. So it's hard to know sometimes. Okay, like because these kids are advanced. Some of these kids are advanced to know like, okay, now you're in trouble, but it's like, uh, it's my mental health. Like as a parent, it's hard.
Don't let them. Don't let them use that mental health as an excuse. I mean, my wife has PTSD
Right,
because she's a vet. Both of us are vets. So mental health is not using an excuse. And if you know what you do, if they do use that excuse, put it on them. Okay, let's go to therapy. Let's go over here to this. Let's go over here to the behavioral hospital.
right,
Let's get you checked in.
right,
Let them let them know the seriousness of um of of calling it a wolf when it ain't a wolf. You know what I mean? Let them know the seriousness and how serious this really is before when they have that conversation. Be like, look, I'm taking it serious, kid. You want to do this? Me and you, we going down here, but we going to spend this time. You ain't going to do no one session. We're going to do a couple of sessions
right.
and let them know because also in doing those sessions, you might learn something about, or they might learn something about themselves. But let them know, hey, I take it seriously. You going to claim mental health? We're going to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I think back in the day, I think we looked at mental health as, almost like a cancer or like a illness or whatever. It's like, you know, it was around, but if you say you had something mental, I think back in the day it was just like, oh, you got something wrong with you, crazy. You know what I mean? And it's looked down. I think these days it's looked at a little bit differently. Where it's accepted more, I guess. It's accepted more these days to discuss, and it works because I did therapy for a while too, man. And I wasn't a believer. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't a believer, but it actually helped me get through a lot of issues that I was having trouble get through by myself, and then I didn't want to talk to anybody about.
Right.
Uh,
And my grandma was a mental health specialist. That was so the stigma we had on it because we always went to her job just growing up. But mind you, this is in Seattle. So when we went and she was a mental health specialist, um, growing up, it looked like a whole bunch of crazy people. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? As a kid, like when we seen she have these meetings and she have group sessions, and we always go to her job. And so in our minds, like it was crazy people, like you know what I mean? Because these people looked at crazy, like, and so and I never even my grandma never even thought to break down the mental health. We just knew she was a mental health specialist, but she never thought to break down, what mental health really is, or even give us the ins and outs of like what it even was.
yeah, yep, true, true. Uh, man, look, we are running out of time now. I do want to thank Kia and both Seth for y'all coming on today. I want to offer. We're gonna have our last words, man. We like to end. We want to end this on something positive. I think we beat up the kids a lot. We beat up the kids a lot this episode, but we want to offer. We don't want to just talk about the negatives without bringing solutions to the table. You know what I mean? So, I guess we start with you, Seth. How do and then we'll go on to you, Key, and then Leo, and then I'll close it out. But what's the solution? How do we stop these kids from being so violent, or stop these kids from uh, playing with guns and all this other crazy stuff they're doing?
Um, Take it back to how they used to say, "Reach one, teach one." Um, we go back and we beat the streets. They used to have a group called Beat the Streets when I was a kid. And if they seen you moving around, they'll snatch you up. And if they was going to Bible study, that's where you went. So I think we need to get more involved as in the community with these kids, and let's just start and see where it goes. Let's just start.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Seth. Let's just start. Kia, what about you, man? Last words. What you got?
I think Seth said it, like, yeah, we got to start. Like, you got to start somewhere. Um, I mean, just being like you said, if you just reach one, if you know what I mean, like even like I remember having like my cousin, we lived in the same home. My aunt died. He had like a big brother. Like it was like mentorships. Like even if you grab one kid, like Seth, you just grabbing one kid, me grabbing one kid, you know what I mean, makes an impact. So like you said, it's easy for us to beat kids down, but we got to do something actually about it.
Thanks, Kia. Leo, last words.
Baby, big camera on. It's so much, man. But I think y'all pretty much hit the nail on the head. Um, grab one, grab one. Actually, I'm going to add on to that. Grab 10, and out of that 10, you might get one. But grab 10, grab as many as you can. But have a plan. Um, like I said, do something that you love doing, and you teach them how to do it. You show them how to do it. At least you passing on your knowledge. A generational thing. You never know who might pick up what you throwing down. So do it. I'll say if you're going to grab some, do it with something that you love, so you can show somebody and teach somebody something else, and maybe that'll keep them from out the street or either making the wrong decisions.
All right. Thanks, Leo. And I mean, I'm trying to say something different because that's exactly what I was going to say. But I'm gonna say this is I say let's support, man. There's plenty of groups out there that's doing stuff. Um, and it might not be your tea. It might not be your cup of tea. I'm not an athlete, but if I got a friend that's doing a camp, I got a friend that's doing something, I'm gonna support that person or whatever. So support that person to help him get his vision through. And that brings me back to another point I wanted to make is it's not just giving, but it's the way that you give. So when it comes to mentoring, it's not just mentoring. You're not doing it for yourself. I see a lot of people who mentor, they do it for themselves. They take the pictures, be like, hey, look, I'm with this kid. I'm doing this with this kid. Like, that's when it's not about the kid. It's about you showing everybody that you're doing something. It's like, just go out there, do it with the plan and the vision of doing it to help the kid. That's the only way you do it. The kids see through the fake stuff, man. The kids always see the truth more than the adults see the truth. So you come in and you just taking a picture and you, okay, go to school, eat your cereal, whatever. You know what I mean? The kids going to see straight through that. They know you don't really care about them. So when you go and you're mentoring and you're giving back to the community and you're kicking back to the community, do it the right way. Do it authentic. Be authentic with the kids, man. You ain't even got to bring, I don't know. A lot of times when I'm mentoring and stuff, you don't even know I'm doing it. You know what I mean? It's not about me. I'm out there. I want to be there for the kids. I want to be there. I want to show the kid that, hey, I really do care about you. And I want you to make it. I want you to survive. So whatever you do, be authentic in it, and just keep it real with the kid. That's the only way they're gonna, they're gonna see the real from the fake. So, once again, I want to thank Seth and Kia for coming on the show. I want to give you a minute here to plug because they're not just out here talking, man. They own businesses. They both like community. They both be in the community a lot, doing different things. So I just want to give you a second to plug yourself. Tell people how they find you, how they follow you, how they get to your business there. We'll start with the Wing King himself there, Seth.
Come over here and get lost in the sauce. Nah, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram. We got Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and I believe we got Twitter. But come follow your boy. Follow me on Facebook on the Wing Junkie page, man. We got over 10,000 followers. You can subscribe for $4.99 a month to tune in and watch your boy. But all jokes aside, man, find something, stick to it, bring your dreams to reality. If I can do it, you can do it. And that's what I'm leaving kids with.
I appreciate it, man. You keep on doing your work. Kia, how do we find you? How to keep up with you? How do we get a haircut?
Oh man, I be booked, but I got a new barbershop, Millionaire Barbershop. Seth made me do a business page on Facebook, and I got on my Instagram Kia 5000, and on Instagram, on Facebook it's just Kia McGuire on my Facebook. So I got my link on all my pages, I think. And then, because I cut a lot. I cut the Lamar basketball team. I cut the football team. I got I do BU, some of their player Westbrook. I do a lot of all the athletes around. I go to U of H. I cut some of their players, football players, basketball players. So.
Man, that's super dope, super dope. Make sure you follow both of them, man. Like she say, she booked, so I don't know. I thought I was gonna give me a little cut, but I guess she booked. Hey, make sure you follow both of them, support them, support all small businesses in your area. Appreciate y'all coming. Make sure y'all hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And we will see y'all next time right here on the 3200. Peace.
3200, but you already know this. Couple of brothers hard working and focused. Intellectual, entertaining for show. 3200, let's go. 32